It's the one and only 5D attraction, and I'm back like I never left. And man, you know, I wanted to spend a week to just really take some time to be out in the field and really, as a social scientist, come back with the next level of gems. I feel like a lot of people talk behind a chair, but they're not really in the field. You know what I mean? They're not really doing this, but I really do this. I'm a social scientist. I'm learning every day. I'm interacting, and that's key. So I can give y'all the best game. So let me make this clear. The problem with most of these you guys, man, you get fixated on one. The way the game is moving right now, you you're gonna have to have seven to keep one. And if you keep trying to focus in and hone in on one and keep one and maintain that one that you love, you're gonna have zero. You're gonna constantly go from one to zero, one to zero. You got to be moving ahead. Well, guys that have this amazing conversation, they'll be vibing with this girl. It'll be this incredible vibe, and they're like, yo, they're delving into it, thinking about the next time they hang out with her, not realizing that as soon as that conversation ended, that girl was moving on to the next thing. You got to understand that, and I'm going to talk further in the next video, but there's levels to attraction. And unless you got her at that pinnacle level, that 9, that 10 level where she's really, really locked in on you, or essentially she's extremely attracted to you. If she's not extremely attracted to you, after that conversation, it's on to the next. Guys got to understand that women play a different game than us. They're focused on that one, but they're focused on the best one that they can get, which means they might find guys that are amazing guys. But unless those amazing guys hit every point that she needs, uh, it's like, hey, that's a nice guy, but that's not the one for me. Now, the only way these guys end up getting in position, if they're not really who she's very, very attracted to, is if they wait around, always available, and then finally when the girl gets an opening and she goes through a couple breakups and she's ready to settle down and she looks to her left and she goes, oh, he's still here. And that's the guy who a lot of the time they go, all right, I'll settle with them. But just know that when you get in those kind of dynamics where a girl picks you from a place of, last choice, you're going to have a shit show. A lot of the time you're going to deal with a lot of negativity throughout that relationship because there's going to be certain elements of resentment, certain elements of not feeling fulfilled while she's in that dynamic. And a lot of these are what leads to divorces or unhappy marriages, unhappy unions. So it's a tough conundrum. And the whole point boils down to you can't be fixated on one because the way women move, they're on to the next. And you got to be even faster than them. See, a guy be fixated on a woman and she's not even thinking about him anymore. And then he tries to follow up, and now it's the attraction's getting killed, it's getting zapped because you keep following up. Now you're double texting, and all that's being communicated is, oh, he likes me. He must really like me. And then she goes, I don't really like him like that. So it's just not going to work. Whereas if you was out in the field playing the numbers game, if you were out there doing the same thing, oh, it was great meeting her. Here's my contact. On to the next. Like I always like to say, you should have a new apple of your eye every day, every other day at the slowest. You should be having a new girl that's catching your attention all the time because that's going to replace the last girl that you had your attention on. And eventually when when one of those girls are in your life enough and she shows that consistency and she shows that reciprocation, then she can begin to be raised up to a higher level of importance. But like I like to say, it's never good to have one-itis. Look, there's 3 levels of it. The first level is when you don't know the girl, you just like her, you're infatuated by her, you're fixated on her. If you continue to pursue that's going to go left because it's you're going to come off thirsty. You don't even got the girl yet, and you're already thinking about her at night, thinking about how you're going to talk to her when you go to work tomorrow. This could be some girl you work with or some place you frequent. Okay, so tomorrow I'm gonna stop by and do this so I can. And you don't even know, bro. This girl can have a boyfriend. This girl might not even like you. She might just be nice to you because you're at the store. As soon as you hit on her, that's when it's gonna get weird, right? So don't even be fixated. You know, if you want to get at her in the store, and then think about the next girl. Second situation where this plays out is when you're dating. You go out with a girl, you know, and this is for women too with guys, because women fall in one-itis all the time, and oh, they fall in that notoriously for that guy that ain't shit, and then she's so fixated on him, she's not looking at the options around her, right? But men do this, I'd say, more often, due to the scarcity that men deal with, because women aren't approaching men. See, men approach women. So even if a woman is fixated on a guy, she could be walking down the street and a new guy can pop up. So then already naturally it's helping her be forward focused. Guys don't have that luxury. You know, guys might be getting rejected or whatever, and then they find a girl that gives them a good vibe, and they will get fixated on that. So the second level is on a date. Let's say you're dating a girl. Now you be getting fixated. Oh man, she was so dope. Man, I was her. She was blah, blah, blah. And then just because you went on a date or a couple dates with her, or even if you kicked it with her at the crib, or even if y'all slept together or whatever, the next day is a new day. You know what I mean? I know this might hurt some feelings, but you know, she's moving on. And if you're sitting here following up, yeah, when are we gonna hang out again? Or what you up to? You're trying to hit her up after y'all sleep together, and you're like, yeah, did you make it home safe? And then, yeah, what are you gonna be doing later today? Killing the attraction, just zapping that bitch. You know, and then finally, here's the third situation where this plays out in a relationship. You know, you're in a relationship, but your whole world is being wrapped around this one person, and then it becomes a scenario where you become so addicted to that person, you know, and so attached, it kills the attraction. You know, a lot of guys, once they get in a relationship, they don't go out and hang out with their friends, they don't hit the gym the same way. You got to remember, the person she fell in love with when she met you, that's the person who has to stick around throughout the duration of the relationship to some capacity. Yeah, you can be in love, but you got to remind her consistently, like, I'm still that attractive guy. I'm still, like, if you act up, I'm still about to make my own moves. I'm still independent. You know what I mean? But people wrap around their girl, and then what happens? You get disrespected. She starts losing respect because she's losing attraction. And now you got a scenario where she just doesn't want to really be with you, but she's annoyed and complaining all the time. And you know what I mean? And guys do the same thing. They're with this girl. They really want to mess with somebody else, but they try to purposely, you know, make life hell for this girl because they're really annoyed with her being around so much. But if that's the case, you know, keep it a buck. You know what I mean? But my whole point is this: I'm all about reciprocation. I'm not teaching no dude or no woman to be chasing nobody. You know what I mean? You're simply looking to see who's giving you reciprocity. If you're not getting reciprocity, you got to keep it pushing. You know what I mean? And so you know, I'd say 95% of men, and I'd say a lot of women, whatever those ratio, that percentage is, you know, are moving so slow. Yeah, and I know some people like to move slow. They like to delve in, and that's a beautiful skill set. But you have to balance that ability to know, all right, who deserves this communication? Who deserves me to delve deep into their world and pierce through their, you know what I mean, and really understand who they are. You're looking for some reciprocity so that it lets you know, okay, I can buy in more. I can give her more attention. But when you see that attention pulling away, there's no technique you need to be thinking about doing. There's nothing else to do. It's time to move on to the next. And honestly, if you're just starting to move on to the next, once you see that she's not giving you the right energy, you're already moving too slow, because whether she's giving me the best energy in the world or the worst energy, I'm doing this regardless. This is just what I do. And that's how you got to think out here. You know, live your best life, man. This is 5D attraction. What I just told you was massive, massive, massive game, and it's so much more on the way. It's the one and only. Make sure to like and subscribe, man. Let's build up the channel so I can start doing live streams and being out in the field and really chopping it up with y'all. And you already know, man, it's the one and only. And make sure to check out the Patreon. I got the 5D base, dating and attraction, how to have a masterful, magical dating life where the world is yours, as the great Nas would say. You know what I mean? For real. These are important concepts, not just for dating and relationships, understanding masculine, feminine energy, understanding the law of gender, and just improving as an individual. And it's really all about social dynamics. And I am a sociologist by trade. I have a bachelor's degree in sociology and human behavioral sciences, concentration in psychology. And then aside from all of that, I got just hours and hours upon hours, over 10,000 hours of just doing my thing in this field and studying these social dynamics. And I've worked with some of the highest level teachers directly. So, I just want to give that game, to help the next person, man. So make sure to like, subscribe so we can spread the word. And I'll see y'all in the next video.